Hello and welcome to Gangzone here, a special edition here. I'm really excited. My name is Ryan Sampson. I'm the host and producer of this show. I'm going to bring in my guy, Frankie Vitariti from U Stadium. We have a special guest today, Frankie. Before we bring him in, Victor Green, former Jet, played 9 years, was part of the all-decade team. He is one of the all-time great Jets when you really think about this franchise and what he did. Played with our new Jets head coach, Aaron Glenn. I'm really excited to get his mindset and his opinion on the hire and what Aaron Glenn is going to be for this team. Frankie, how you doing, bud?
Dude, I'm doing well, man. I'm doing well. As these last 24 hours went by, I think I'm on the Aaron Glenn train. I really do.
Of course you are now.
I'm there. I haven't officially hopped on yet, but I've packed my bags. I'm ready to hop on, and I'm feeling the energy. I'm feeling the vibe, and Vic coming on is going to be great. I've known Victor for a few years now. He does some charity work. He's in some golf event stuff that we've kind of crossed paths on in the past. And him and Aaron actually are the reasons why I'm a Jets fan for the most part. I grew up. I loved Aaron Glenn. He was my favorite player, and Victor Green was right there beside him. So I'm excited to chat with him.
We are. Hopefully we'll learn a lot more about his character, Aaron Glenn, and the type of coach he's going to be. And Frankie, let's get to it. Let's bring in Victor Green here. Victor, how you doing, man?
I'm good, guys. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for coming on, man.
What you guys did. I tell you, I was watching you guys' show yesterday. I wasn't a big fan of doing a lot of podcasts and things like that, but I was listening to you guys and Frankie. He was a little skeptic yesterday, so glad he got on board. And it's exciting times, man. Glad to be here with you guys.
Much appreciated, man. I know, like you said, a lot of people are probably asking you for your opinion because you played with Aaron. I just want to start off with, for you, Victor, when you saw the news that Aaron finally is going to be the Jets head coach, after all this build-up this offseason and him interviewing him and him being the first candidate to get that second interview, what was your reaction?
I don't know if you guys been following me, but I've been pushing for Aaron for the last week and a half or so, man, just because it's time. I've talked to Aaron a couple of times this season, and 5 years ago, we didn't have the same conversation as I thought he was ready to be a head coach. He is ready to be a head coach. You see, you hear it in his voice. You hear how he come across when you talk to other head coaches. You're like, oh, snap, they kind of talk the same type of language. And so he is ready for this moment, man. Like you said, he was drafted from New York. He's come up through the ranks, and he's ready, man. I've seen Aaron. We was roommates on the road for 4 years. You're at the hotel, and just watching him read his Bible. Me and him getting in the cold tub one after another, and just having some real, gut wrench type of conversation, man. He is, a leader, and I think he's gonna show that day one when he have his interview. I think you guys gonna see it, and that's why I'm so excited for the franchise and us fans, man, to see something different.
Victor, I appreciate you coming on. You're one of my favorite players ever. You and Aaron actually made me into a Jets fan, which I'm kind of mad about, to be honest with you. So I'm just going to throw that out there. But
hey, don't be mad. Don't be mad. Hey, man, change is good. Change is good.
If you guys weren't so good, I might have not been a Jets fan. So, it's tomato, tomato. But Vic, what do you think about, and this is where my trepidation comes in. I'm worried about Aaron's ability to run the offense or to put together a staff that could get us into this new age system of play calling and creativity and whatnot. That's my only real concern. And what do you think about that? Do you think there's that carries weight? What are your thoughts on Aaron Glenn's ability to get that staff together on offense and find the quarterback? Is that a worthy concern, or am I just speculating?
It's not a concern to me. Aaron's been around some great coaches, Parcells, Sean Payton. He's been around some really good offensive minded coaches, and he got a tree. He's gonna bring somebody in to run that offense. I think we all gonna approve of. He said, "Hey, I'm a defensive coach, but I'm a coach of men, right? I'm a football coach. I'm gonna coach just as hard on the offense side as I will on the defense side, and I don't have no qualms with him saying that. And I think that, you know, he's a pro, man. He's been around enough leaders, and I think he's going to assemble this team. You know, guys like himself. You know, the tenacity, the no nonsense type of guys, but at the same time, guys that that players can relate to. You know, I think they may be some younger guys in our age group, and I think he's going to get it done. So I'm not worried at all.
You know, Victor, I hear you, and I kind of agree because I've tried to do some digging on Aaron, and you know, you watch the clips from him from the Pivot podcast, you listen to him in the locker room after the game, you hear him speak in the press conference about him as a coach. I just see such a guy who's so humble, and a guy who did the work from starting as a scout, going as a quality control coach, working his way as a DB's coach, and then eventually a defensive coordinator, and now it got him to this point right here, the head coach, the guy.
Mhm.
That is what he is doing here at this Jets franchise, and I can't overstate it enough. Aaron, by all intents and purposes, looked like and wanted this Jets job. He wanted this Jets job because it's the organization he started with. It's where he got an opportunity to be a scout. For you, when you're looking at this opportunity for him, can you just state, like, the talent this team has? It feels like there's a lot of untapped potential there. Can Aaron unlock that next part of this team and help improve their culture, their mindset, and their attitude towards their weekly preparation and how they're going to execute on game day on Sunday?
I really think he can, man. You look what he did with that defense. Just think about, you got to start in defense and you lose all 11 of them. And you gotta replace those guys, and you got to go out there and you got to coach them up. You got to help them understand. You got to get them in the mindset of how you play football. And he was able to do that. And I think now he's going to come in, he's going to know and study this football team with the talent he has. He's going to make some changes. And the pieces that we have in place, as you mentioned, you know, I think he's going to improve on. You know, he is ready for his opportunity. We talked earlier this year, and this is the job he wanted. You know, he got some opportunities in the, last couple of years, but I didn't think that, I didn't say he wasn't ready. You know, he had to prove himself more. If you think about, Eric Bieniemy, the reason he didn't get a job is because they knew Andy Reid was calling the plays. This is Aaron Glenn defense, and I think Dan Campbell have given him the reins to make mistakes, to lead that football team. I think it was grooming him in a sense. And I think he's ready to lead this football team, make whatever hard decision he have to make. I think he's going to make them, and he's going to hold his head up high, and he's going to take responsibility for whatever happens or don't happens.
Yeah, Vic, what do you think about, and this is something that just I was looking into last night, Aaron Rodgers. There are multiple reports that Aaron Glenn wants Aaron Rodgers here. That's one of the reasons why it maybe took a little bit more time for them to finalize the deal. There's a little speculation with the Jets that Woody does not want Aaron Rodgers here. Keyshawn Johnson said yesterday that he will guarantee anybody he'll walk at 4 a.m. with his boxers on for 6 hours in the cold. He will guarantee that Aaron Glenn will not want Aaron Rodgers here, and he won't be a Jet in 2025. What do you think? I mean, knowing Aaron Glenn like you do you think Aaron Rodgers will be the Jet starting quarterback come week one?
The only way Aaron is not the quarterback, in my opinion, if they can't work it out contractually, right? We know that his cap number is really high. And if you cut him in June, it goes down a little bit, but it's still, a cap hit for him. And he gotta have a quarterback, and that's my reason for saying, if they can work together, bring Aaron's back. Aaron got a few more years left in him, right? I know this year he was up and down, but I think it was play calling too, right? I think they took the ball out the running back hand and put it too much on Aaron Rodgers, but I think it's, get the right offense in there, have a balanced offense. Aaron can lead that team. Aaron Rodgers, I'm speaking of. So, I'm getting ready to see Keyshawn in his boxers because I think it's going to be a cold day in hell before Aaron Glenn, again, if they can't work it out contractually, then he got to do what's best for the team because he got to be able to build a team. But to get rid of that guy, now who you bring in? I don't think Travis ready, right? So, and you look at, you got to look at, Jaden Daniels and those guys, that he's a special cat, right? So you try to bring in a freshman quarterback to lead this team. I don't think he's ready for that. And I think
Victor,
he's going
you
to be
think he has a few
uphill
years,
better.
Victor? You think Rodgers can
I
play
do.
for a few years? Yeah.
I think Rodgers has 2 more years if Rodgers get on plan with the path AG and the GM is going to go on, right? But he has to be all in. You look at him and you talk to him, you see him on, the ESPN show every week. He's kind of like, Aaron got to get all in, right?
Yeah, he's
he
a
got to
little
get all
loopy.
in, right? Yeah, you got to get all in. And if he can be all in and said, I'm going to do whatever I got to do, restructure my deal, coach guys up more, be more attentive and what we're trying to build here, then I think he can be the guy. But if he's not on board with all that, you got to get rid of him. But then you got to talk about maybe it's going out and get a Childs or go bring Donald back, who had a great season this year. But you got to get a veteran guy in if he's going to win now.
And that's kind of the key question of what Aaron Glenn's mindset is going to be heading into this season. Victor, do you feel like this Jets team in 2025 can take that next step and be a playoff team with Aaron Glenn as the head coach? Can he get enough out of this team to make them a playoff team?
I really think he can. We got the talent. We're not far away. Look what we did to Miami in the last game, and so you add a couple of pieces here and there, get to improve that defense. I think you're going to do better in that secondary. They're going to play a lot better. I think you're going to really help Sauce a lot in this third year. And I think you just got to keep working these pieces on offense so they can all work together, right? It's not enough balls to go around if they, keep Adams and Wilson and running back. And I think they need to add a tight end, right? That's a lot of catches. And you got so many each game. So I think if Aaron can get these guys understand that there's one purpose and one goal, and that's winning, right? If he can relay that to this football team, then, man, yes, he can go to playoff this year.
It feels like with Aaron Glenn, I was telling Frankie this yesterday on the show, Victor, he reminds me of the mindset of Bill Parcells in the sense of being the complete leader he wants to be. And he wants total buy-in from everyone, from offense, from defense, from everyone. And I think he's really going to try to implore that on this Jets team. What more can you explain in your history? Obviously, being coached by Bill Parcells, playing with Aaron Glenn, is that going to be the type of mindset he's going to try to implore on this team?
I think he's going to have his own mindset,
Okay.
But I do think he's going to take a little bit of Parcells and what he learned from him. Parcells been mentoring AG when he got into coaching, right? I talked to Parcells even 4 years ago. Right, I talked to him as recently as that, but 4 years ago we was talking about AG, and he said AG gonna be a head coach. He's good. He's got the right mindset to do it. And we weren't thinking about him at that time. I don't think at that point he even had a head coach interview at that point, but he knew what AG had back then, right? And AG and I mean, he studied the game. He and I, we're in meeting rooms together, watching film. This dude been a student of the game when he played the game. That's why he was so high level out there on the football field, because he understand what team was trying to do. He understand his opponent. And I think he's going to get these guys understanding Jets football and how we used to play back in the days. I know it's softened up a little bit and you can do certain things, but he's going to bring a mentality, back to this program that these players need, right? We got a young team for the most part, right? And we need a coach like Aaron and the mentality and the tenacity he played with, tenacity that you saw that clip on Hard Knocks when he got on that defense for really, screwing up in practice that day. I mean, that's the type of guy we're going to get, right? He's going to take accountability. He's not going to point fingers. He's going to hold everybody accountable, just like he's going to hold himself accountable. And I think that's what the Jets need right now.
Victor, you know what else the Jets need? I just got a vision right now. We need Victor Green, you as our D-backs coach. That's what we need. I'm calling for it. I hope you're ready for it because I could see you unlocking things with those guys back there. I think Sauce needs someone like you and Aaron Glenn there. I think he needs a little confidence. He needs a little bit of history of the game. He needs that toughness that you're talking about. I would really, and I'm not even joking about this. I think you'd be a great D-backs coach in the league, or a player developer in some way, shape, or form. I don't know. Are you thinking about it? I know there's been rumors, and
I haven't talked. Putting AG out, on social media the way I have, I legitimately think he's the right guy. I wasn't doing it for a job purpose, just because he's a friend, because I believe in AG. With that being said, I texted him yesterday. I know he got 1,000 texts and trying to assemble a coaching staff. But I say, if you need me, I'm here. That's all I told him, right? If you need me in whatever capacity, I would join that team because I want to be a part of turning this thing around. For the last 15 years, I mean, we've been like a Cleveland Brown,
Yeah.
a Jacksonville back in the day. You don't want to be that. We want to get back to winning football. And if I got to come on, if he, so happen to bring me in a capacity, I'm going to do whatever I got to do to coach these guys up and help them understand that this is the way you got to do it, right? Things don't change. I mean, you got all this thing about, in working out, right? The way we worked out, they got a lot more things these days and trainers and all this stuff that we didn't have. But guess what? People still doing what we did. And they won't lack anything, right? So you got to get back to the fundamentals. So I don't know what the coaches have done, right, in the last 15 years, but AG got to get these guys back to fundamental, understand it's film time, it's field time, and it's film time. You got to understand what these guys trying to do, and you got to understand how you're going to attack them. So I believe he's going to step up with that mindset and get this thing going.
Victor, I got to ask you, since Frankie mentioned Sauce here, what is the potential for someone like a Sauce Gardner? Obviously, he had the first 2 seasons he was all pro, but he took a step back in his 3rd season. But even by all metrics, he was still a hell of a corner. You saw some, I guess, a little bit off the field. I mean, social media being aside, I don't really care about that part. I care more about what you do on the field. What do you think about Sauce? Can this guy have a bounce back year in year 4 with Aaron Glenn and really be that all pro corner?
Aaron gonna be big for him. I really believe that because Aaron understands talent. He understands what he have in the room, and he's gonna know these guys front and back of his hand, right? And I was mentioning this last night. I said I don't know his football IQ, speaking Sauce, but he got to get in that film room and study because his first 2 years he kind of caught people off guard. I know he was a good player coming out of college, but now they know you. Right? They know you now. So now what are you going to do different to set yourself apart, for the next 5 years of being that Darrelle Revis, that lockdown corner every single day, right? And this year he wasn't that. So, I would get him in a film room and go just like, hey, what do you think here? What do you see here? Right? And kind of see what he understands about football. And if he's not there, you need to get him there.
I totally agree. I think Sauce, obviously, for all intents and purposes, he still had a solid year, but there's still so much potential there. And I'm just dreaming of what Aaron Glenn, like you said, can unlock for him and bring him to that next level that we maybe potentially haven't even seen in the first 2 years with him with his Jets career. Final question for me, Victor. Look, the Jets, Aaron Glenn's going to be assembling his staff here over the coming weeks. We're looking forward to his press conference. Obviously, speaking to the New York media, I think he's going to do outstanding with the media, being able to handle all the questions and the pressures and everything. But long-term here, do you think Aaron Glenn can be the long-term success here for this Jets franchise that they so desperately have been lacking at head coach and finally bring a consistent winner here?
I think if they give AG the opportunity to run the program, make managerial decisions, yes, right? You can't bring him in like they did Mayo and the Patriots, right, without having a really good team and fire him after 1 year, right? If you hired him, you gave him a 5-year deal, let's see this thing through, right? You give him a ring, the draft, the free agency, you get the money, right? You get him what he need. AG can be the long-term, fix for this organization, kind of like Mike Tomlin. That's what I'm looking for AG. And I think he have the temperament, the mindset. Mike Tomlin is not that rah-rah guy, but Mike will get in your butt, right? And I think that's the same way Angie is. He's not going to rah-rah, right? But he will get into you when he need to. And he's not going to be afraid to make the hard decisions. He understands New York, and he understands what he's walking into. He could have took a less highlighted market like New Orleans or go to Tennessee or something. He chose this destination, and the destination 30 years ago chose him. So let's get behind him and let's see this thing through to the end.
Yeah, no, you know what? I've packed my bags and I'm almost ready to hop on the AG train. I think I'm on my way. I really do. No, Victor, you've been great, honestly. And tell Damian Woody too. I know you guys played together for a year later on in your career. Tell him if he wants to join the staff too. And if you guys need a defensive ends coach, I'm also available. I was telling Ryan, I played DN at D1 AA.
Way to plug yourself there, Frankie.
No,
hey,
you're the man.
I appreciate it. Last thing I'm gonna say about we was talking about Sauce Gardner and the defense. What I didn't see from the defense this year, which I think Aaron's gonna bring, is everybody on the same page with their energy. Right? You saw energy here, you saw energy there, but overall, every game, you didn't see that energy, that flying to the football like they had when they had the top 5 defense a few years ago, right? I know they had some injuries, but that's what they need. They need a fire, every play, running to the football. You look at Detroit and how they played. I mean, I know the last game and people talk about that, he gave up 40, but you can't, the offense gave up 3 interceptions.
Yeah.
That was a lot of missed tackles in that game. He ain't out there tackling, right? So he needs to get that defense and the offense to play with energy, and that's running to the football, playing 110 miles an hour. If they do that, that'll win them 2 more games in itself.
Absolutely. And I think that's total buy-in, right? That's the total buy-in you have to have in it for your head coach. And I think Aaron Glenn's going to unlock that with this team because he relates to them. The guy's been there. He's done that at the highest level. Learned from the best coaches like you highlighted, Victor. Like he's played with some of the best. He's been coached by some of the best. And now he's got the opportunity to really take hold of this Jets franchise. And we're all just praying that, and I'm fully supportive. Like Frankie obviously had his doubts, but I always was like, I'm behind the Aaron Glenn train because I'm excited to see what he can do. It's a new opportunity, and it's a mindset and mentality I think this franchise has been lacking for a while now.
Give the man a chance. That's
Amen.
all I would say. Give him a chance, and
100%.
whoever he brings in, everybody gonna talk about, oh, he should have got this guy, he should have got that guy. But he got a similar a coaching staff that somebody he trusts, right? Not who I trust or you trust, who he trusts, who he feel is the best coach for that position. And I'm gonna trust him on that. So whatever he choose, I'm not gonna go against it. You wait till they put on pads, wait till the first game, and then we can make our decision at that point. But until then, I'm gonna trust him 110%. He's the man for the job, and let's go Jets fans.
Let's go Jets fans. Victor Green, you are the man. Thank you as always. We appreciate you hopping on and just talking about your friend Aaron Glenn, and we're looking forward to seeing, obviously, what happens this season when he takes over everything here. Victor, thank you as always, man.
Appreciate you guys. Go Jets.
Go Jets.
Let's go.